very simply by taking a photo of it. In the background, Visa technology working with your bank that issues the card will verify that it's really you adding that card. Once you've done that, very simple step, all happens in the background. When you come into a store, you can simply wave the phone after pressing your fingerprint reader on the phone, and it will make the payment for you.
Now, from a risk perspective, obviously we've seen major credit card breaches at Target and Home Depot recently. Had Apple Pay been more mainstream, would those have happened?
Well, no one thing, as we always say in security, can ever solve the problem, because we have very enterprising criminals attacking our financial system every day. But Apple Pay and similar technologies that you can get soon on other phones will be a big part of the solution, along with those new chip cards that you mentioned.
Ellen, specifically about these technologies, does Visa have more cards using these chip technologies than, say, using different wallet formats, Apple Pay or whatever?
Well, right now, most of our payments in the U.S., as I'm sure you know, are taking place on plastic cards. So the mobile technologies are relatively new. We think they'll be taking off. But right now, the overwhelming majority is on your plastic cards, which are going to be swapped out for those new chip cards over the next 2 or 3 years. And in fact,
how fast will you guys actually be swapping them out at Visa?
Great question. That's just what I was about to tell you. So Visa itself doesn't put the cards out. It's our issuing bank partners, so whatever bank issues your card. They have told us that by the end of 2015, we should have 575 million chip cards in the U.S. market. Huge numbers.
Ellen, specifically, do you think that the value proposition for Apple is different because they've got biometric ID on the device, and so therefore they're going to have a lot less risk?
Well, I think the Apple proposition is really a strong one from a security proposition point of view, but it isn't really about the fingerprint so much as the technology that operates in the background, and that includes chip technology, which generates a one-time code, can't be replicated by criminals. So it really makes the data useless to criminals and will be a big part of devaluing the data and making the system a lot safer in the future. Exactly the same thing those chip cards do.
So I don't understand. I don't understand the fundamental difference here.
Well, right now, today, when you use your plastic card, the store reader, the terminal, will read the card, and it'll have a series of numbers that could be used to make a fake card. That's why they're stealing the data from places like Target and Home Depot that have been in the news. But once you have a one-time code, it won't matter whether that data is ever stolen, because you can't use it without a new one-time code that's generated by that little chip, either in the card or in the phone. So it'll make the system...
Yeah, so in other words, what you're saying is the retailer never has that cache of credit card numbers, so hackers can break into Target and Home Depot all they want. There's nothing in there.
Essentially correct, and that's why we say that these types of technologies can take the retail industry out of harm's way, out of the line of sight of criminals who are trying to steal payment data.
Now, NFC and Apple Pay, the technology that's integrated in Apple Pay that allows you to simply wave your phone, that's different from chip and pin technology. So how do you see these technologies working together? Is this just adding layers of security to the actual transaction?
Yes, it's adding layers of security to all the transactions. So it's important to know that in security, the criminals will always go to the weakest link. So you have to secure the physical point of sale, where you're going to use your card in a terminal physically, and also the digital point of sale, whether that be mobile or electronic. And the technology in the background will be operating on much the same principle, but it's implemented differently depending on whether you're there with your card or transacting remotely.
Now, you mentioned that Visa's going to have, 575 million chip and PIN cards out there by the end of next year. Will retailers have the hardware to accept these cards?
The retailers are coming along, perhaps a little bit more slowly. They have to take the trouble to swap out their terminals. They've done a lot of that work already, so many of them are in the process right now of upgrading their back-end systems to read the chip information. And we expect that there will be significant numbers. I don't have an exact number for you, but some of the industry gurus are projecting that up to 30% of all payments will be chip-on-chip. Chip card meets chip terminal by the end of 2015. So that's quite a lot.
It starts to explain why the credit card processing business is so hot right now. You know, if I were Apple, Ellen, I would be saying to you, Visa, hey, I don't care if you think the token technology is really great. The thumbprint is reducing your risk, and therefore we should get a piece of the transaction. Explain to me why the thumbprint biometric is not reducing risk.
Well, let me start with the tokenization piece. So the tokenization technology is what makes that data useless by creating a single digital account number, similar to the one-time code on the chip card. So that is what is really reducing the risk. The thumbprint is a great thing, don't get me wrong, but it is what we call static data. It doesn't change from use to use. So in theory, our ingenious criminal minds could eventually be able to counterfeit that thumbprint data as well. It is good, but it's the combination of things that really makes it work, and especially the static data, eliminating the static data through tokenization.
And as I understand it, Apple is taking a portion of bank fees from the Apple Pay transactions, but it's not taking anything from the credit card companies. Does your takeaway change? Is Apple taking any part of your cut?
Apple's arrangements are primarily directly with those financial institutions, and the economics for Visa doesn't change, correct?